So the scaffold will offload some of those cognitive demands onto the external resources, and I guess then allows pupils just to concentrate a little bit more on their key learning and then of course experience success. So an example of a visual scaffold could be a graphic organiser, or it could be a modelled example of work, it could be a diagram, or perhaps concept maps. And here at St Matthew's, we regularly use task plans as a scaffolding device. A task plan will help children work independently to complete a task, and we use these for perhaps children who have attention and memory difficulties. The task plans are essentially written instructions which can break down the activities into nice bite-sized chunks. A verbal scaffold might be a teaching assistant just reminding a particular pupil of a spelling strategy that they've looked at previously, or even reteaching a small group of pupils. We should always evaluate the working memory demands of a learning activity, because these will always be higher if there are lots of unfamiliar content and many elements to the content. I think it's best to map out the steps to achieving a task and consider the difficulties that children may face. Then the scaffolds can be designed to support and overcome these difficulties. For example, in a writing task where pupils have been asked to write a newspaper article for the first time, the teacher may provide a writing frame which will help with the structure, and they may provide the content for the article, and they may provide the key vocabulary. I do think that we should not see scaffolds as a one-size-fits-all approach. So some pupils may already have a lot of foundational knowledge and therefore they need little to zero scaffolding, whereas other students may need heavy scaffolding, and I think that's why it's really important to know your children well. And often by providing scaffolds when they're perhaps not needed, we risk actually increasing cognitive demands instead of reducing them, which is of course what we want to achieve. We think in terms of just enough and just in time support. Scaffolds should always be seen as being temporary, and we need to look at ways to reduce the levels of support so that the pupils work towards independence. Often scaffolds are replacing a part of key learning that your pupils ultimately need. So as pupils become more proficient, we should look at removing the scaffolds. Once they have mastered the aspects of the content and they've got experience with various completed work examples, then that's perhaps the right time for the scaffold to come down. We could perhaps remove words from working walls, definitions from glossaries, etc. But ultimately, knowing when to remove your scaffold and when is the right time to remove the scaffold is a really, really important decision for teachers to make.